What's up? What's up? Welcome in. Boston has entered the chat. George Balekji here with Travis Thomas in the PNC Bank studio.
Hello.
You decided to return after I serenaded you on your birthday. I'm happy to see
man. That was smooth. A lot of people said something to me after that show about that too. Like, man, George was really singing. I said, listen, we have a bromance. And the beauty of Boston has entered the chat is you can watch our bromance unfurl every episode.
On Nesson's YouTube page. Head over to Nesson YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime. Like, subscribe, download, rate, and review. We got a packed show for you guys today.
Yes.
Drake Maye's knee looks fine. No MRI.
Nothing to see
Those weren't
here?
solid reports. No, we'll talk about it.
Great.
We'll go through Patriots and Jaguars matchup. Talk a little bit about Robert Kraft Hall of Fame. We got a Sunday Night Football preview for y'all. And we get into some Boston Celtics season predictions before their season tips off
So
Tuesday.
Ready. So ready.
Hosting
So
the New
ready.
York Knicks.
So ready.
It's going to be such a good game.
Yes. It feels like just yesterday I was drinking margaritas at the parade. And now here we are.
You're drinking margs at the parade.
I was.
To go.
No, well, we won't get into that. But I will say this. I felt like, because it was hot as Hades that day, if you remember. And
I was in Spain.
I felt, oh, yeah. Well, you wouldn't
Big time
know.
traveler,
You wouldn't
yeah.
know. Let me tell you. It was hot, okay? And what I did was I thought, okay, I mean, I feel like margaritas have never let me down, but it's still strong enough where I'm going to feel good. And it was the right choice. I remember the parade. It's a miracle. And I still had a good time, if you know what I mean. So, margaritas, that was a weapon of choice that day.
Sullivan's in Charlestown. All the recruiting I tried to get you to come over to Charlestown.
Yeah.
The best blood orange margarita
Come on.
you'll ever have.
Okay, well,
So
now
I'm
I'm
getting
there.
you to Charlestown.
Yeah, now I'm there.
I kept trying to lead with Warren Tavern.
I know.
Like, oldest bars.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
They got good marks too. But we'll go to
But-
Sullivan's.
All right.
Blood orange.
I'm in.
Fire.
Can we do the show from there? Can we finagle? Can we finesse a little something from there?
I have a connection to Sully's. And you know I'll always put Charlestown on the map. It's my favorite neighborhood in
Clip
Boston.
this off. Let's get involved. Huh? We'll do a show there. Little Boston has entered the chat from the bar. Let's go.
The place is legendary too. All right, let's get
go.
into Drake Maye's knee.
All right.
He doesn't need no margaritas to take down his knee pain. So there were the reports. He popped up on the injury report, but was a full participant with a knee injury.
Yeah.
We heard Phil Perry's reports where basically there isn't not a lot of concern. Full participant in practice. There was a float out there that reportedly he got an MRI. That had no weight to it. Mike Reese tweeted this out of ESPN that Alex Van Pelt said on Thursday, he looked great to me as he worked out. We'll see as you go down through the course of the week, but right now it's probably precautionary. I think he feels good about where he is right now. I think his Patriots being smart to go on the side of caution just to throw it on the injury report. We've seen Tom Brady spend his whole career on the injury report. And as we learned from earlier in the year with Jordan Mason, all of a sudden becomes a starting running back for the 49ers late last season. Put it on. You don't hurt by putting anyone on the report. You rather have more than less. He was moving. All right, and also, I mean, practice Thursday, he was moving fine. Literally moving fine. No braces as he was walking through the locker room. No wraps spotted as he was walking through the locker room on either knee. What do you?
Well, I have a take.
Yeah, he hurt his knee because he got his ass kicked before
Right.
this horrible offensive line.
Right.
Okay.
That's where
Who's
I'm going.
been saying
here.
that's going to happen?
You.
Thank you.
I will say this. Let's first put this to bed so we can have an adult conversation around this situation. You and I both, for the record, feel as though this is a non-issue. It's a story, but a non-story at the same time. Do we agree? Okay,
Yeah.
good. Now that the table is set, let me put some plates on it. Look, this is a new normal for Drake Maye, at least this season. While you have no offensive line, while you have no weapons, while you're asking this kid to be the savior, he's going to get beat the hell up.
Yep.
I mean, forget the knee. There were times in that game against the Texans, George and I watched the game together with our team here at Nesson, and all of us were commenting about how there were certain plays, they were literally picking Drake Maye up off of the ground, like offensive linemen, teammates. Come on, Drake, get up, man.
Yep.
I mean, he was getting up slow, wobbly, woozy. I mean, everything. This is a new normal, at least this season. This is what it is. Welcome to the NFL, kid. George was telling you all along, don't play him early. He's going to get the you-know-what beat out of him. They played him early. He's getting the you-know-what beat out of him. But I will say this, at least one game in, my man got up every time. He answered the bell every time. And not just got up, but he balled out. Like when he got up, he was together, and
He
was
got
ready
better
to
as
go.
the game went
Absolutely.
on, and those hits added up.
So that tells me a couple things I already knew anyway from watching him in college. The kid's tough. He can take a hit. He's got moxie. Here's why I say it's a new normal for this season. It has to stay in this season because I'm telling you, let's best case scenario for this conversation, say that this kid holds up all season long. We know they're not going to win a lot of games, but he's impressive. We know the future's bright. He puts up decent numbers, all things considered, in terms of his circumstances. These hits, these nicks, these bumps, these bruises, these things carry over season to season. And as you get older, it gets harder. I've covered so many broke down quarterbacks by the end of their career. And you say, well, what does that have to do with now? If you want this kid to be here for the next decade and be the franchise quarterback like they have in Houston, like they have in Chicago, like they have in Washington, you gotta, in a certain sense, because I think this year's done. Because everything I'm saying is what you've been preaching. It is the George gospel, but I have always agreed with you on that. I just think this season, the reality is he's going to get the hell beat out of him. But you must figure out how to keep him upright in the not-so-distant future. If you can get it figured out this season, even better. But that would need to be schematics because Lord knows it's got to be the X's and the O's because you ain't got the Jimmies and the Joes. But my thing is, big picture, you're going to have to figure out how to protect Drake Maye so he's not taking this kind of punishment he's taking this season, clearly moving forward, because you will not get a decade out of this kid. He's going to get chewed up and spit out in the NFL taking all these hits. So although this is a non-story, I do think this is the new normal. Every week we're going to be dealing with something. Drake Maye was moving gingerly in practice. Drake Maye knee. Drake Maye is back. I mean, look, it's going to look like the old board game of Operation the way this is going. Touch whatever part, ribs, back, shoulders, wherever on the kid. It's going to buzzer because he's getting smoked out there. But you must figure out a way to protect him moving forward or he's not going to last.
And he has 11 more games to play this season. Right. That's a really important 11-game stretch as well. You just even think of the pass rushers that he'd be facing. DeMarcus Walker, Montez Sweat. We'll see what's happening to Montez Sweat, but that's the Bears on the horizon. Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker this week. Arden Key with the Titans. Will McDonald with the Jets. Teams that are going to go heavy on the blitz. When you have Zachary Thomas as your starting left tackle because Verdarian Lowe still is a huge question mark if he can be starting and how bad this offensive line is. That's what it comes down to. And I understand the people of play the kid. The only way you get better is actually playing football. For the Patriots side of it, the way they get better is they figure out if he's the guy or not. He's the guy.
He's the guy.
You take him third overall, you're projecting that someone is the guy. But you take him number 3 overall, you want to have that structure and the right situation around them.
Right.
And that's why, look, they're on track. They're going to pick first or second in the upcoming draft. Luckily, they'll be in a position where a lot of teams need quarterbacks. It's going to be the race for Cam Ward or Shador Sanders.
Would you trade back?
Yes. And you get multiple firsts. You even see what can happen with multiple 2025 draft picks. But you're not trading back all the way to 23.
Okay, time out.
You're staying top 12 or you get Kelvin Banks or Will Campbell.
Let's stay here for a second. Because I can only ask you questions like this because you have a Rolodex of this stuff. Is there and I'll throw a name out, is there a Joe Alt in this draft? And the reason I asked.
No.
Okay, then that answers my question. I don't even need to ask it because I am fine with trading back because of the need for quarterbacks and gaining more picks. Like in theory, I get it. It's logical, right? But if there is a generational tackle in this draft, then I think you take them. But it sounds like
Kelvin Banks and Will Campbell, you'll take. There's a
but
high.
You can get them later. You're saying
yes.
Okay, then
because
trade back.
Think of
I agree.
Shador Sanders, Cam Ward, Travis Hunter. There's a lot of good corners in this too. James Pierce out of Tennessee, Luther Burden could be a high pick. Will Johnson.
Where can you get a tackle realistically? 6, 7, 8 range, or you got to go top 5.
Top 10. You could stay top 10 and you can still get good tackles.
All right.
And I think it's all about what people see, what they project, and what the preference is. I've had Matt Miller on episodes of Foxborough Rush. He loves Kelvin Banks. Kelvin Banks has a longer frame, which Elliott Wolf loves in his tackles. So to me, it makes the most sense for the Patriots to go with Kelvin Banks, stay within the top 12 if they trade back.
Okay.
Look, you're not going to get Travis Hunter. You're just not, because you need protection more than you need dynamic playmakers on the outside. But if they do this draft the right way, and as we see, teams will make plays to go up and move up and get 2 first-round picks, and they need a quarterback, you're sitting there at 2 or 3, because keep in mind, like, the Browns are terrible. The Jaguars are really bad. The Raiders stink. The Patriots are right there, though. That's why I think the Pats finish with the top 3 pick.
Okay.
They slide back. They stay top 8. They could get Will Campbell. They stay top 10. They can get Kelvin Banks. I think Banks out of Texas is their guy.
Okay.
And at the same thing of a team that needs it bad, if you move back in the first, but you get another first next year,
sure,
and maybe you get another second in the upcoming draft, you could take 2 seconds, trade back up into the first. That gets you a receiver. So all of a sudden, you left last year's draft with the quarterback. You leave this upcoming draft with your tackle and your wide receiver. There could be some free agent signings that you add into the mix. But then you're cooking with something. There's something to work with them there.
All right.
I think that's what's important for them.
I'm down with it.
Especially they got the ammunition. Maybe go draft top 10. You got 2 twos. Go back up. Go top 25 in the first. I don't know if teams would really make that move. But there are the guys like a Luther Burden out of Missouri. It's an outside threat. And Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State's good, but he's more of a slot, and they have that already with Pop. That's why like a Trey Harris out of Ole Miss can really get him.
Here's where we agree.
I can't wait for mock draft.
You need
season.
a grand slam across the board in the offseason. You need to have a great draft and a great free agent class.
Yes.
It's got to be all hits, no misses.
Joe Alt's been phenomenal for the Vikings. For the Chargers. Exactly. But you see what these teams have. Sam Darnold, as good as he has. Christian Darrisaw, great left tackle.
Right.
CJ Stroud doesn't have the best offensive line, but 3 really good weapons and a good play caller.
Yeah.
The good offensive lines are still needed. Like you need that. It's everything you point out. It can linger with Drake Maye, and then Drake Maye becomes a Sam Darnold, who took to go from the Panthers to the 49ers to the Vikings to finally have a resurgence.
Right.
You don't want that to become of a Drake Maye.
I would even argue, even though they went to a Super Bowl, the Bengals as a franchise have underachieved because they can't keep Joe Burrow healthy because they have failed at the offensive line.
But finally, like Amarius Mims out of Georgia, who's now their starting right tackle.
Right.
And they've signed guys. They have corrected that mistake.
They fixed it.
The Patriots need to address it with an actual left tackle. Enough of this Caden Wallace tomfoolery. Chukes Okorafor not with the team. Crazy. Like, forgot that happened.
I know.
It was week 2.
I know.
Week 2.
It's a mess.
It's only gotten worse. And when you think of the matchups of like a Joshua Hines-Allen, a Trayvon Walker, they're both top 15 in the NFL in pass rush win percentage. They create a ton of pressures. With how bad the tackle play has been between DeMontre Jacobs and Zach Thomas,
right?
Josh Hines-Allen is up there with like Will Anderson Jr. level good. And Will Anderson Jr. sacked Drake Maye 3 times.
Destroyed him.
Had another 5 pressures, I believe. We've seen the big strip sacks. You can't let that keep happening, especially with the schedule they have in front of them.
Agreed.
All right, let's take a look into London. You excited?
London.
9:30 a.m. kickoff. You ever been to London?
Nah.
You want my quick, like, here's London in 10 seconds?
Does it rain a lot? Is it overcast?
It's New York City with worse weather, crappier food, and uglier people. That's London.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's London.
I feel like
it's not as cool as New York City either.
When you say uglier people, is it just a grill? Don't they like not really brush and floss quite like we do here?
All around.
Oh, all around.
Yeah, just worse looking. It's not just
Ugmos, huh?
It's just not a teeth thing.
Oh, all right.
That's my opinion.
I thought it was
London.
a grill thing. It's all around, huh?
Yeah.
So you weren't impressed?
No.
Well, listen, London looks pretty good from my couch. Tea, crumpets, mimosas.
You're not drinking.
Bloodies.
You're not gonna have tea and crumpets.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
What's a crumpet?
Exactly.
By the way?
Thank you. You took that. I was going to tell you, what is a crumpet?
Is a crumpet like a little pastry with your tea? With a spot of tea? What's a crumpet? Once I learned what a crumpet is.
Small griddle bread made from an unsweetened batter of water or milk flour. It's a pancake. It's a small pancake.
Well, damn, that sounds disgusting. Unsweetened
but it sounds like
pancake.
a
Who the
dry
hell wants
pancake.
that? Yeah, dry ass. You have to drink tea with a crumpet because if not, you'll choke to death.
Crumpet.
Fall right out your chair.
So we're getting a boom or bust. Tea, boom or bust?
Tea?
Bust.
No, I'll go. No, hell nah. Tea is booming if it's done right. You put a little honey in there, a little bit of Suge Knight in there, stir it up. That's good. That's good drinking. Tea is boom.
Drake Maye, boom or bust against the Jaguars.
Boom. Here comes the boom. He's the only shot. And this is a winnable
That
game.
secondary sucks for Jacksonville.
Facts. I think the team sucks. You start looking at this schedule up and down. Find me any chances it wins, okay? And don't give me every week because it's the NFL. How's my arse sound? You ain't winning every week with this team. You ain't in every game. You're going to get smoked, just like they did against the Texans. When you play elite teams, finito. But this is one of the games you can circle on said calendar because it's a winnable game. The Jaguars have quit on their coach. I think Drake Maye is the only shot you got, okay? The only chance you got in this fight, and you better win by knockout. Drake Maye, boom.
They are bottom, looking at this right with my notes, bottom 5 in the NFL. They're the worst in passing yards per game. Then they're either bottom 4 or 5 in yards per completion, yards per attempt, quarterback rating, completion percentage. Drake Maye is going to have a feast. He's going to go off. But that's I like the over in this game. I think the Patriots will break 21, which is a huge step forward for them. Maybe they get to 27.
Yep.
But the Jaguars can't stop. They'll generate pressures. They just can't get any stops. And their rush defense is serviceable, which is a lot to say about a team that's playing from behind.
Yep.
So obviously, opponent has a lead and they can stop it there. But Drake Maye, we saw, 243, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a strip sack fumble. Man, because you're going to be playing from behind, because the Jaguars can score, this could be Drake Maye, 300-plus passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Hopefully, he cleans up the turnovers. And that's a huge boom.
By the way, bro.
If he goes 250 and 3, that's a boom. So
well, if he puts up those numbers you said,
they never
it's a
broke
boom.
at 170 with Jacoby Brissett passing.
It's a boom, and they win the game. I do not see, let me say this, definitive. I do not see a world in which Drake Maye puts up those numbers. So essentially has a great game in this game. Against the Texans, we liked what we saw, but that's the Texans, okay? That's creme de la creme in the AFC. Against the Jaguars.
The basement team.
Yes. If Drake Maye puts up those type of numbers or has a repeat performance like he did against the Texans, Patriots win this game.
I think but are they going to get stops?
Well, by the way, George, if they don't, the numbers you just gave still suggest the Patriots can win a shootout.
And that's why, and that is the reality of what it is for the Pats. Drake Maye can play great.
Yes.
This roster is so bad, they're not any closer to winning games.
In this game, they are.
They're
this week.
Because this opponent stinks.
That's right.
But whether it was Jacoby or Drake, fine. He moves them up because he could score more. They can't get stops.
Facts.
They got ran all over. And Tank Bigsby, ETN, whoever it's going to be. With Trevor Lawrence, he's dealing with the second worst completion percentage of his career right now. But then he's also dealing with one of the highest pressure rates he's faced. And the pressures have translated to sacks at the highest rate in his career this season. So it's not just getting the quarterback and ruining the pocket and getting him off the spot. But it sounds like there's not separation downfield. The protection's not there as good as it can. He's getting sacked at such a high rate. He's been sacked 15 times this season. His high on a year is 35 last year. He's already at 15 in 6 games. And the offensive line was bad last year. That's the one hope that the Pats have. Can Keon White be a game wrecker? Because just as bad as it is for the Patriots, it's awful for Trevor Lawrence.
So what are you going, boom or bust?
I think Trevor Lawrence still booms.
Okay.
His defense isn't great, but I think it'll be more of a Tank Bigsby game. But T-Law is fine. He's dealing with a lot of bad drops, not great separation downfield. I just can't figure out this Jaguars team, and it's a lot on the coaching.
Trevor Lawrence will be booming this game because of the Patriots defense and all the struggles we've already illustrated.
Especially in the secondary,
It's a big week for Gerard Mayo. I mean, look, a winnable game across the pond, a team that's quit on their coach, and you're trying not to lose yours.
Yep.
You got everything off the field with this team is an absolute bleeping nightmare, okay? Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger style. It's a mess. And so if you can really go on the road, because this is a home game for the Jaguars, even though it's in London, if you can go on the road in the face of all this stuff and you get your team to play and you get that defense to get a timely stop, because I don't think they're going to get stops consistently, but you can get a timely stop. Drake Maye has another solid performance and you win the game. I feel a little more comfortable about Gerard Mayo's future. If they go and get smoked and Trevor Lawrence lights them up and the Patriots look lifeless and somehow, some way, this Jaguar team that's already dead in the water shows life, Drake Maye, I mean, man, woo, it might be hard to get some sleep around there for him. So
they're going to keep passing the blame on Bill Belichick.
with that, well, you can only do that. You can kick that can down the road for so long if you only win 1 or 2 games this season. Trevor Lawrence, though, I will go boom because I don't trust this defense.
As bad as the rate has been for Trevor Lawrence getting sacked 15 times so far this season. He came off a season where he got his ass kicked last year and 35 sacks. Drake Maye, Jacoby Brissett, total Patriots quarterbacks have been sacked 23 times this season. Just 6 games in, it's really bad. It's almost 3 times a game on average. And we've seen the spikes like we did last week where Drake Maye was sacked 5 times. You'll like this one then. Demario Douglas, boomer bust.
You know where I'm going. He's the only damn playmaker you have on offense on the outside. In fact, I said this on Foxborough Rush. I think you have to figure out a way to get him more touches and not just throwing him the ball. I want to see reverses with him. I'd like to see like quick, just bubble screens, get it to him in space. This dude can boogie, and he's really one of the only, if not the only guy you have on the offensive roster that can do that. I'm boom with both of these top receivers in this game. Pop Douglas on the Patriots side and Brian Thomas Jr. on the Jaguars side, who's really having a coming out party this season as well.
I think what's big with Pop, he's seen 9 targets 3 of the last 4 weeks, no matter what. After it boggles my mind. He's only on the field for 62% of the offensive snaps. That has to be 80% because he is your best man beater. And he's a slot guy. But when they're going 12 personnel and they're only having 1 receiver on the field, what are you doing at that point? Or if it's just 2 receivers on the field.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what troubles me. But he's a wide receiver 3 at best. He's a 2 for this offense. He could be the 1. He's just going to have the most volume. And Drake Maye loves him. He says he can make guys miss in a phone booth. He's praised him endlessly. Demario Douglas has to be there 100% of the snaps. Has to be running all the routes. And credit to him, I mean, he's averaging over 10 yards per target just last week. So you need him on the field. He's a chain mover and he's a man beater. What about Brian Thomas Jr., downfield threat?
Who's going to stop him?
It's going to be a lot of scoring.
Who's going to stop him? It's boom. I told you. Outside of those 2, Pop Douglas, Brian Thomas Jr., I'll go boom. There's not another receiver you can name me on either team that I'm not going to get bust, okay? Stinks. But for booms, Thomas Jr. is the truth and Pop Douglas is the truth.
BTJ, I think he was a 25th overall pick in this last draft. Patriots sitting there just outside of the top 32. Put some picks together.
You could have had him.
Yeah.
Lord
you're
knows
getting
you
a
need
Caden
him.
Wallace, who's a right tackle. You need a receiver a lot more now.
Lord knows you
could
need
have
him.
a quarterback and a wide receiver.
Locked
Cost control
in.
contract for 5 years of cost control. I think Brian, it's going to be interesting his matchup, but Christian Gonzalez, he's not as good of a route runner as a Stephon Diggs, but he's a great downfield threat, and I just think the poor safety play we've seen on the back half of defense by the Pats this year, I think Brian Thomas Jr. booms. What about Jalen Polk?
Bust.
Yeah.
I have
He's
to
got
see
the drops. It's bad.
I have to see it, man. I know we liked him in the preseason. I know there were great stories coming out of camp. I know he didn't look terrible so far this year, but I just have to see consistency, and I have to see game breaking. Like, you're just not giving me enough, bro. So until then, bust.
I need to see more from Polk. It's been bad drops.
Yeah.
His route running's been okay. He is getting open-ish. And if he is, though, it's just the drops plague me. In a game, they're going to be throwing a ton. The 3 receivers we're going to see on the field the most would be Kayshon Boutte, Kendrick Bourne, and Pop Douglas. And because of that, not a lot of Jalen Polk. I think it's going to be bad. What about Tank Bigsby, running back for the Jaguars?
I'll go boom here. I actually think Tank Bigsby having a big game could be advantage Pats. If the Jaguars come out and say, we can run the ball on this defense, which is true, you can pretty much do anything you want against this defense, apparently. If they come out and want to run the ball and kind of play bully ball, I think that's advantage Patriots because it will keep the game a little bit closer, and then maybe Drake Maye can make some magic. If they come out and they are just throwing shots down the field with Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr. is running free and doing whatever the hell he wants, it's going to be a long day in London. I think you must eliminate the big play. I think you're better off with Tank Bigsby having a big game because you can hang in there. So I will go boom for Tank in a losing effort.
Let up 2 separate 50-plus yard runs last week.
He's not that explosive, though. Tank Bigsby.
He's good after
Joe
contact,
Mixon's
though.
explosive. This kid, he's a horse, but he's not that explosive.
Mixon was playing on one leg. I'm just concerned about this run.
Still
I think he has a really good game, though. Yeah, Mixon's great. What about Kayshon Boutte? 40-yard touchdown grab. He's had 9 targets this season. He's caught 8 of them. He's your best downfield threat. Why? It's a bad secondary. And Drake Maye pushes the ball downfield.
I feel the same way about him as I do with Jalen Polk. I just need to see him more consistently. Not saying it wasn't a great touchdown, not saying the kid didn't look explosive, but I see it consistently from Pop Douglas. I don't see it consistently from anyone else in that Patriots wide receiving room. In fact, I want Antonio Gibson to be involved in that wide receiver room. I want Antonio Gibson. Yeah. That's a guy I have my eye on in terms of boom potential, at least, if he can get touches, if he can get carries, if he can get some catches out of the backfield. But you got to talk to Mr. Van Pelt about that, because I don't know what the hell he's doing with Antonio Gibson. But I watched this guy in Washington be used in a multitude of ways, and that was with an idiot-face idiot as his head coach in Ron Rivera. So, I mean, if he could figure it out, what the hell's the problem here? Antonio Gibson needs more touches.
Yeah, I think it'd be important. And I mean, the pass block, the run blocking just has to be there, too. The lanes were not there against the Texans. We'll see how it is against the Jaguars. Patriots O-line, I think, are going to be a bust. They're facing 2 good D-ends, a good D-tackle that generates solid pressure up the middle, and Eric Armstead. And again, it's still a revolving door. I have no idea what the starting 5 is going to be.
No.
I have no idea what left tackle is going to look like. I have no idea how Vidarian Lowe, how healthy he'll be. There's a lot of concern up front, and that to me is a spell of all the trouble for all this.
I couldn't agree more. I feel like we're in for another, just like every Sunday, moving forward, we're in for a Drake Maye to make splash plays where we go, ooh, we like that. That kid can play. And then the next play, we look and we go, ooh, please get up. Okay, whew, thank goodness. It is what it is. And you know why we're all on that roller coaster of emotion? Because this offensive line sucks. That's why.
Been bad coming into the offseason. Bad coming into the season, still bad through 6 games. Hey, make sure to call in the hotline, 617-790-0928. Email us thechat@nesson.com. Join the conversation. Send us an email. Leave your name. If it's anonymous, all good. We'll read it right here. If you leave us a voicemail, we'll play it on the show as well, 617-790-0928. I miss my friends from North and South Carolina.
I knew it was coming. I was just waiting.
I miss my friends from the Carolinas.
I thought you had moved to Oswald and say, George has shown growth. He's not going to take any more shots at the great state.
I'm not taking shots at them.
You are.
I miss their calls.
You are poking the bear. Ever since we got all these voicemails, one of them in particular called George an idiot.
No, really
now he's
stupid.
Just poking the bear. Hey, North Carolina, where are you at? You told me Drake Maye shouldn't even be here. We don't deserve him. We're going to get voicemails, and I can't wait. I'm here for it. North Carolina, I just want you to know, go Tar Heels.
So what do you think of Kraft finally elected through to the Hall of Fame?
Duh, right?
No. It's the first. So as the process goes, the committee votes on 25 semifinalists in November, 15 finalists in December, and then they vote on the class, which needs to get 40% of the vote. This is the first time he has moved on to be a semifinalist.
I'm confused. Can you educate me? What's so hard here? Listen, I'm going to say a blanket statement, okay? Anyone who's anyone with anywhere close to a Hall of Fame resume that was attached to that dynasty that we just watched, why the hell ain't you in the Hall of Fame? I mean, everybody should go in. So when I read this, I was shocked because at first inclination, I'm like, duh. And then when you say that it's taken this long, I'm like, what is the problem? What am I missing? Somebody educate me, please.
I mean, like Don Van Natta put out that long, basically Game of Thrones sized book a while back on saying that the orchids of Asia down in Jupiter, Florida, is holding them back. Jerry Jones is in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, come on. Is that what we're doing?
He's literally hiding children from being connected to him.
And some of you Hall of Fame gatekeepers, let's open your closet and see what skeletons come out. Okay, get off your high horse.
There's some owner, he was having riverboat gambling trips in New Orleans, literally running them.
Come on,
and he's
bro.
in the Hall of Fame.
Come on.
It's just, he's not liked. He's just not liked. There's weird politics in it. Jerry Jones doesn't like him. We know they hate each other. And Jerry Jones just plays the game, has guys on his party bus. We'll have a drink with him at the bar. Robert Kraft just doesn't do that. And probably the edge of they don't like how open he is. It doesn't matter to me. Just don't talk about it.
Right.
Say it matters. Say it matters, but don't act like you're above it. And then behind the scenes, people are pushing for him, which I understand. They're just doing their job. He got through the semifinalists. We'll see if he gets through the finalists. I mean, the guy's up there in age.
He's a Hall of Famer, bro.
And he is.
What are we doing? What kind of games are we playing?
The Patriots almost became, from New England Patriots to the St. Louis Stallions. He bought the team, kept him in Foxborough, which I think was a mistake. Should have brought him up to Boston. But kept him in Foxborough. hired Bill Belichick, kept Belichick and Tom Brady together long enough, won 6 rings, kept that franchise together, was crucial in ending prior lockouts, was huge in the current negotiations on the streaming services that the NFL is now on, like bringing billions and billions of dollars to the NFL and all the owners. He's been pivotal. He's just not well liked. It's a weird, just like rich boys club, I guess. My thing too, though, T, like, I don't think owners should be in the Hall of Fame. Like, you're a billionaire. You made all your fortunes off the backs of thousands and thousands of men that have given their lives and their health and their best for you to have the success. F out of here getting in the Hall of Fame. But if you're going to have owners in the Hall of Fame, Robert Kraft should be in.
Listen, bro, he deserves a Hall of Fame alone for just saving us all from the St. Louis Stallions. I mean, what an abomination that would have been. So thank you, Robert Kraft, for saving us from that nonsense. The St. Louis Stallions, my God. I mean, thank God for Robert Kraft. He deserves a Hall of Fame for that, for keeping the Patriots right here.
All right, let's get into talking some Sunday Night Football.
Let's do it.
Jets at the Steelers.
Yay.
Jets now have Davante Adams. Steelers could have a new starting quarterback. Shout out to Justin Fields, like, owning that Mike Tomlin comes out with this. He basically said, like, my play hasn't been great. Like, I don't deserve to still be the starter. After having 10 total touchdowns to just 1 interception, taking care of the football, off to a 4-2 start. As much as I am high on what the Jets have done to make the roster better, bringing in Davante Adams, I've said it, this spells trouble in a matchup. I think Steelers get the win on Sunday night.
If we're talking about prime Russell Wilson in Seattle, I mean, then Justin Fields would have a leg to stand on and say, hey, my play hasn't been good enough. You know, here's this rock star, Russell Wilson. I'll play my position. The plan was always for Russ to be the guy. He's healthy. Here we go. I would have no problem with that. That Russell Wilson ain't walking through any door. That Russell Wilson doesn't even exist anymore.
Yeah.
And I wonder how much of that Russell Wilson was actually smoke and mirrors because of the Legion of Boom, because of Beast Mode, because of Pete Carroll, etc. And all of a sudden, once Russ reached that superstardom level where Legion of Boom started to break up, if you remember, Russ was cooking. Remember, let Russ cook? He was putting up numbers. He was still a productive quarterback in this league. Many, myself included, considered him to be top tier. But they were losing playoff games. They were not the same. They never got back to a Super Bowl like they had the Legion of Boom era. And then Seattle had enough. Plus, we hear all the locker room stuff. Guys thought he was disingenuous and just not really into him. And we know the rest of the story. We have never seen prime Russ, let Russ cook Russ since. And I don't believe we're going to see it in Pittsburgh. And so that's where I have a problem with this. I think Mike Tomlin should have said Russell Wilson's healthy, but we're going to stick with Justin Fields while he's winning, but he needs to play better.
Yeah.
And no one would have batted an eye to that. But I believe in this game, they will start Russell Wilson. That's my prediction. Justin Fields will go to the bench, and it is a huge mistake. You know, I am not a Jets guy. I think Aaron Rodgers got Robert Saleh ran out of town. I think Aaron Rodgers got Davante Adams in town because he gets every damn thing he wants. It doesn't even matter. Cobb, Lazard, Hackett, all losers, and he got them all. And Rodgers isn't even anywhere close to his prime either, just like Russ. Prime Rodgers ain't walking through that door neither. But with all that being said, I like the Jets here. I do.
What?
Yeah, I do. I think Mike Tomlin will torpedo this season. This will be Mike Tomlin's first losing season if he goes to Russ. I think you have to make Justin Fields lose that job. I understand not putting up great fantasy numbers or whatever. Who the hell cares about that if you're winning games? That's what the kid's doing. Mm-hmm. And by the way, here's a reality check. The Steelers' offense sucks and has for many moons since Big Ben's left. So, I mean, Justin Fields brings you legs at least. Play breaks down, the kid can get out and boogie. When's the last time you saw Russ boogie on anyone,
bro? Boogie's into a sack.
I mean, it's unbelievable. So, I think this is a huge mistake, and you could mess around and divide this team. Because I'm sure there's a fraction of this team that's like, we like the kid. We like Justin Fields. We're winning games, bruh. You're going to Russ. I think it's a mistake. Give me the Jets.
Well, that's when Justin Fields was asked about it. He said, I don't think I've played good enough, if I'm being real with you. if I'm being real with myself, if I did play well enough, I don't think there would be any sort of question who should be playing, who should not. And that's why he's so loved in that locker room, and that's why he's so respected. But to also bring in Russell Wilson into this spot and have him start, you're going to have him go against a New York Jets defense that's top 5 in completion percentage, passing yards allowed, quarterback rating allowed to opposition. This Jets defense is still top 5, top 3 in the NFL, despite how bad the offense is, despite all the penalties we've seen them happening. And then on top of that, this Pittsburgh defense is great. But this is such a winnable game with all the turmoil the Jets are going through, with all the questions they have up front. To your point of coaching, where Mike Tomlin has everything buttoned up, it doesn't make sense. But Mike Tomlin knows what he's doing. And by doing this, if he's lighting a fire under Justin Fields, by doing this publicly, which surprises me, even given this life, I can't make sense of it. But I just trust that this Pittsburgh offense, and with how good their pass rush is of Nick Herbig and TJ Watt, those guys against this awful, awful, awful Jets offensive line, with a quarterback that can't move, I just like the Steelers in this matchup. But yeah, if it's not Justin Fields out there, I mean, he's done a good job throwing over the middle. Not great downfield. The accuracy isn't there, but resetting the pocket move, where they've had a changeover at both their tackle spots. Zach Frazier's week to week. And what does Justin Fields bring? The rushing upside. What's been great about the Steelers? Their rushing offense, whether it's Najee Harris, if Jaylen Warren has been in the lineup, but also for Justin Fields, the higher ceiling and the upside he brings with his legs. It surprised me so much with this move, but I still like the Steelers at home, and I just believe that their offense is better. Again, a really tough defensive matchup. I think the Steelers have a better offense.
I'll take the Jets 23-20. I think this
I am
game
amazed by this.
I think this game's going to be tight. I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be low scoring. I think defenses will be on display. And I think by the end of this game, we will have a quarterback controversy in Pittsburgh. If Mike Tomlin does what we all think he's going to do and goes with Russell Wilson as a starter, I think Russell will struggle through this game. They'll put up 20, but Rodgers will be better down the stretch. Jets, look, Davante Adams is too new to make a huge impact in this game. I think you'll feel his presence, though. You know, it might be a couple plays here or there. Maybe they take a shot down the field or something. But I'll take Jets to sort of gritty and gut this one out, which is how the Steelers win generally. I'll go 23-20 Jets, walk-off, Rodgers, game-winning drive, field goal.
It's so hard. Now, Davante Adams helps that offense finish a lot more, but they held the Bills to 3 points in the second half and they lost.
Yeah.
Greg, the leg's been missing. Yeah. He hasn't been hitting the kicks like he has. Aaron Rodgers, yeah, he'll get that boost of Davante Adams, but how effective can he be his first game back?
You can have a couple package plays or something.
This is a game. Davante Adams, Garrett Wilson allows Aaron Rodgers to get the ball out much quicker, which helps with the bad offensive line.
Sure.
This is a game, though, it's going to be ugly, and it's going to be like 20-14, maybe 17-13 final. And I just think the Pittsburgh ekes out the win. No matter what, I don't think there's going to be a lot of scoring with how good both defenses are. Totals at 38 here. I'm sitting towards the under.
By the way, if Fields plays, I'll take the Steelers. That's how I am.
And you know what you do? So you wait till Sunday night to bet.
I am out on no, I'm not betting the game at all.
Yeah.
Because I think he's going Russell Wilson. I do. But if he sticks with Justin Fields, he being Mike Tomlin, then I like the Steelers. I just don't believe that's the case.
All right, finally, let's finish up talking some Celtics. By the way, head on over wherever you get your podcast. The latest episode of Hold My Banner. It was Travis Thomas. It was myself.
Yes,
it was
Lord.
Ante Campbell.
Yes,
going
Lord.
through, giving our picks out the entire NBA, MVPs, conference winners, NBA Finals winners. Find that all out wherever you get your podcast. Latest episode of Hold My Banner. Everything you need Celtics right there. All right. Celtics are basically the favorite to do everything.
You're damn right they are.
Which they should be. Plus 310 to win the whole thing.
Yep.
Plus 155 to win the East. Minus 160 to win their division. Not even going to get into that. NBA Cup tournament midseason. I'm not betting on that. They're 4-1.
It's a loser tournament.
They only lost 18 games last season. They were a 64-win team.
Yeah.
Their win total's coming in at 58.5 in the regular season. Where do you think they fall on that line? Do you think they're a 60-win team?
Over. Yeah. There is not a bet for this team that you can name that I don't like. Now, my favorite one I took was just a ticket I hit last year for them to win the finals. And look, you know, at this point, you're not going to get any great prices. I would say at 3-1, it's the best it's going to get. Take it. Okay, this team's going to repeat. Another bet I like with this team from an individual standpoint, I think it's Jason Tatum's time. I'm not willing to bet on him to win regular season MVP. I went Giannis Antetokounmpo in Milwaukee for that.
Whoa.
However,
Whoa.
when we get to the postseason, we saw Jaylen Brown have his moment.
Yep.
He took the spotlight. Credit to him. He took it. Because all eyes, we thought the spotlight would be on Jason Tatum. Nah. Jaylen Brown said, look at me. ID captain now. But I think this time around, it's Jason Tatum's turn to shine. I think as we look back on this Celtic, I don't think it's going to be a dynasty. I think these are the two titles they're going to get, to be honest with you. I think they're going to repeat. New owner comes in. Maybe changes are made. We'll
New
see.
CBA with the second apron coming down.
A lot of bills are due.
Can't pay taxes anymore.
So let's get this title now. And I think Jason Tatum gets his MVP Finals moment. You can get that at like a 5-1, very similar to him winning the regular season MVP. But I'm going to go Finals MVP for Tatum. Those are my bets. The Celtics to repeat. Tatum, Finals MVP, gets his moment. History will look back on this and say, man, Celtics really caught lightning in a bottle. Those two great all-time players, all-time Celtics, in Brown and Tatum. And then it will likely be over, I think.
It would be the second time. No, excuse me. Sorry. Third time we'd see a team repeat since 2012. Heat went back-to-back. Warriors went back-to-back 17, 18. And the Celtics can go back-to-back themselves. Is like Finals MVP, is that like a narrative-driven award?
Of course it is.
Is it?
What award isn't?
But would it be an award where, well, Jalen got it last year. Let's give it to Jason this time. I just still believe
he has to play better,
Jalen
George.
Brown, yes.
Tatum has to play
I don't
better.
know Tatum in the moments that matter the most will be that or need to be it, but Jalen Brown is that guy now.
The closer.
You could get Brown right now 13-1 to win Finals MVP, which is a great number because once the Finals matchup is set, and I think it's going to be Thunder Celtics in the final. I think the Celtics win. But once that matchup is set, Jalen Brown's going to be like 4-1, maybe 6-1 at
easy.
Longest shot possible to get Finals MVP.
Yeah.
So you get ahead of a number 4, it's cut in half.
I'll take Celtics Nuggets in the finals. If you're going Celtics Thunder, give me games. I'll go season 6 against the Nuggets.
I think they do it in 6 against the Thunder.
All right.
They're more experienced, just bigger.
Yeah.
The scoring's there. Defensively, what they can do is keep up, especially with the perimeter guys that the Thunder bring along. We'll see what Hartenstein brings to them. But this Celtics team is so damn good. I just think they roll with them overall.
Who's the toughest opponent in the East? I mean, if obviously we both have them repeating. We both have them getting back to the finals. You got to go through the East to get there. Do you have the Knicks stepping up and being sort of that number 1 contender?
It's a chalky Eastern Conference Finals, but it's a great Eastern Conference Finals. It's going to be Knicks Celtics in the end out of the East. The Knicks are their biggest threat because they have Jalen Brunson, who is one of the most clutch players. His usage is insane. His scoring is nuts. And everything he does to just drive that whole offense and initiate everything. But he wants the ball in his hand late in the game. And that's what sets so many guys in the NBA side. Now you have a Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby around him. Big, strong, physical, perimeter defenders to match up with the Tatums and the Browns and the Derek Whites and everything the Celtics want to throw at them. You bring in Karl Anthony Towns, who gets better with spacing and is better defensively than Julius Randle as well. That was a huge add in a trade. And this is now Brunson's team with a good coach like Tibbs. But this Celtics team is so special. They put together a top 8 season of all time. There's going to be a regression, but only because it's impossible to make that type of performance happen back-to-back or even get better. But the Celtics team is so special. We'll see what they look like when Kristaps Porzingis is back, maybe January, maybe February. But they're just going to get clicking and healthy at the right time. And, of course, health factors into all these teams. The Knicks are their biggest threat. I'm not worried about the Sixers because I just don't believe in Joel Embiid. I'm done with him. But the Celtics still handily, they will get by the Knicks in the postseason.
Yeah, it's interesting because I hear you on the Knicks, and you're certainly not wrong. No one can question their talent at all. My issue with the Knicks, 76ers, and Bucks is all the same thing. Can you finish healthy?
Yeah.
Because the Knicks ran them damn selves into the ground.
Thibodeau did.
So right. So he's still the coach, yeah? So, I mean, I can't count on you come playoff time to be healthy and at full strength. They are deeper, but I feel the same way with the 76ers. I mean, is Paul George available? Hell, is Joel Embiid available? I agree with you. He's out of excuses, but damn it. I mean, none of these teams have proven they can get to the finish line. How about the Bucks last year? Dame, you bring him over. Can he finish a season healthy at this stage of his career? I believe Giannis will bounce back. I'm not so sure. So all these teams, I have more questions than answers. So even if it is the Knicks as a biggest adversary, I still will take the Celtics because I think a lot of these teams are their own worst enemy. They got to get out of their own damn ways.
Yeah. I don't know if they do. And for this Knicks team, even you would still have a Josh Hart who's out there and does a lot.
Right.
You have a Tyler Kolek who could run that second unit. Campaign. I don't think they're done adding either. I don't think they're done adding. They're good. They have to go all in. You don't go out and get Karl Anthony Towns with that second CBA coming down the pipe without going all in on a championship. Same thing with what the Celtics team is. Same thing with what this Knicks team's in. The Celtics we see right now, they're not going to be the Celtics come February trade deadline.
Oh, yeah.
You add a Lonnie Walker, great
Right.
shooter. That's a huge upgrade compared to O'Shea Brissett. Joe Mazzulla quadrupled down basically on his mindset of we're going to shoot an outrageous amount of threes per game. Make them miss them. I don't care. We're going to go down shooting because we're going to make more than we miss over the course of a 7-game series and to keep clicking.
Hot take, Kevin Love's going to join this Celtic team at the deadline. You're welcome.
He barely plays.
Yeah, he's 100 years old. I'm not saying he's going to make a difference, but that's my hot take.
He's going to play in like one game in the first round of the
He's a
playoffs.
veteran, man. Knows how to win.
They
And he
got,
can shoot.
they got the vets.
He can shoot.
Kevin Love?
You need a body. He's still big,
I want
dog.
something more exciting than that. You're a body. Put you out there.
Nah, I can't move lateral.
He's Travis Thomas. I'm George Balekji. This is Boston has entered the chat from the PNC Bank Studio. Wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Prime, please like, subscribe, download, rate, and review. Go to Neston's YouTube page. Hit the subscribe button as well. We'll see you guys Monday morning with a fresh episode of The Chat. See you then.